Okay, so AMD, CES CPU, very nice. Me want. I can't even find the words to say right now. I'm too excited. Let's try this again. At CES 2020 this week, AMD officially announced their Threadripper 3990X, a 64-core, 128-thread, boosting to 4.3 gigahertz, 288 megabytes of cache, $4,000 desktop processor for the TRX 40 platform. And the moment I saw that announcement, I thought to myself, this is the CPU that I must have in my updated, revamped workstation PC for 2020. So that's what this video is about. Parting out my dream PC for the 3990X, which I don't even know if I'm gonna get a sample yet from AMD. You know how like I'll build like a budget $500 PC, and some of you guys in the comments will be like, wow, his budget crappy PC is like my dream PC. Well, this is my dream PC. So it's like, it's my dream. It's important. It's better than your dream. I'm partially joking. My point is that this is a moonshot parts list, guys. This is all subject to change. This is not concrete by any stretch, but we're gonna shoot for the moon. So these are all my number one picks for an insane, over-the-top Threadripper 3 workstation PC. So you guys already know what the CPU is gonna be, but let's just pretend for the sake of the video that this is a 3990X in the flesh, although it's just an empty retail box for a 3970X. That being said, the 3970X is no slouch. No one's gonna scoff at 32 cores, but the 3990X is twice as ridiculous. I mean, literally, it literally has double the cores. But sexy core counts aside, some of you guys might be looking at me like a bit of a hypocrite right now, because I've said in the past that you should never pre-order or invest in a product before the reviews come out. Yet here I am, already plotting out to build for an unreleased CPU. Although, it's kind of released in a weird way, because the 3990X is essentially a consumer-grade version of the already existing EPYC 772P. Having the same core and thread count, there's just a few differences when it comes to TDP, clock speeds. The EPYC processor also has some additional enterprise-grade features, like additional memory controllers and things like that. But for the most part, they are more or less the same CPU. The exciting thing here is that this processor is coming to a consumer-grade high-end desktop platform like TRX 40, which is why everyone's so hyped about it. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Let's continue. Besides the CPU, we have the motherboard. This is the Asus ROG Zenith 2 Extreme, and funny story about this board, this is actually my second board. The first one I damaged within seconds of taking it out of the box because I dropped my 3970X processor right into the socket where it took out like 6 or 7 pins. Irreversible damage, completely bricked the board, literally seconds after I took it out of the box. I was heartbroken. This is an $850 board. I usually don't get that worked up from damaging hardware because I'm surrounded by it constantly, but this one really hurt me, guys. I posted a YouTube story crying about it. Didn't talk to Asus at all, but they happened to see the story and reached out to me, offered to replace it. And I said, sure. I was going to ask you, but if you're offering, and they sent me a second one. God bless Asus and the team that works there. I don't deserve you guys. So thank you very much. This is an incredible board. The power phase is ridiculous. I mean, it kind of has to be for 64 cores, right? I think there's 2 8-pin and 1 6-pin power connectors for your EPS for the CPU alone. Quad channel memory support. We've got a DIMM.2 slot, which I absolutely love, especially since we're going to be custom water cooling this entire build. I don't think I mentioned that yet, but more on that in just a moment. 10 gigabit Ethernet LAN, hells to the yeah. Oh, another fun fact about this build, I'm gonna try to eliminate as much RGB as I possibly can. If anything, there might be some white glow here and there, but for the most part, it's gonna be stealthed out. And I think it's gonna look really good with all the other parts that I have planned that I'm gonna show you in just a moment. Got the power supply picked up because it's just been sitting around collecting dust. I was using this for testing for a while, and then I got another PSU to replace it. It's the Asus ROG Thor 1200 watt. It's got the LCD screen on it that gives you a readout of real-time wattage, power draw, and stuff like that. Very nice 80 plus platinum, as the name suggests. So super high efficiency, fully modular design. Even has some sleeved cables. Ready to go out of the box. Although we'll probably be using something a little bit more custom when all is said and done. So that's the PSU, and then storage. This is the last part that I actually have on hand. Everything else after this, I have to source either myself or through vendors who are graciously willing to sample me. So this is the Corsair MP600 NVMe M.2 SSD. Fantastic drive. I mean, reads and writes up to well over 4,000 megabytes per second. Absolutely incredible drive. 2 terabyte. I want 3 of these. I want 6 terabytes of NVMe storage. Please, Please, Corsair, I love you. So I would say 2 of these are gonna go on that DIMM.2. I actually have the motherboard right here. So this is the Zenith 2 Extreme. This is the one that isn't broken, so I have to be very careful with it. You can see the DIMM.2 stick right here. Actually supports up to 2 M.2 SSDs, which I would like to put 2 of these suckers on there. And I really love the DIMM.2 concept because it's so easy to access and maintain. It's right here next to your RAM. It literally functions like a stick of RAM, just pops in and out, and it doesn't get in the way of custom water cooling. For example, the board has 2 more M.2 slots underneath this plate, but once the GPU's in here and that's all piped in, good luck getting access to either of those drives should something go wrong, should you need to replace them, without having to drain your loop and uninstall a bunch of crap. It's a huge pain in the ass. So this is a huge godsend. So since it would be kind of difficult to remove this giant M.2 cover with a water-cooled GPU installed in the top slot, I'm just gonna remove the cover altogether for the final build. It's not gonna compromise aesthetics that much. You're hardly gonna notice it, but that'll give me access to this bottom M.2 slot, which is where the 3rd drive will be mounted. That way I can just get in there anytime I want, swap it out if I need to, without having to fiddle with the water cooling loop whatsoever. Oh, I should also mention, this motherboard is also the first indicator of our theme. So black, matte black, woo, very, very, very clever, Kyle, way to go, super unique and creative. And then chrome accents, so the mirrored chrome. Now I know Jay just did his Nebula build, which was also black and chrome. I guarantee you this one is going to look similar in some areas, but when you put them side by side, the finished result will look completely different. Jay's will look a lot better. No, I'm hoping this one looks good too. But it's gonna be a black and mirror chrome themed PC, and I think it's gonna be really sweet. All right, moving on. What do we got here? Switching to the screen cap here. This is the case that I want to use, the Lian Li PCO11 Dynamic XL ROG Edition, a very popular, probably the most popular water cooling chassis on the market right now, and for good reason. It's super functional. It has really good performance, great thermals, good airflow, tons of room for activities, especially the XL model, great for custom water cooling, and it looks fantastic. It's a great showpiece chassis because it's just got all these glass panels surrounding it that allow you to peer into the system effortlessly to really appreciate all the work that goes on inside. So, sort of a no-brainer here. And honestly, $200 for this case. I've been working with this case for quite some time now. It's a fair price. I'm gonna say right now, it is a fair price to pay for such an awesome and well thought out chassis. We're gonna do black, of course. None of that white and metallic business. I just don't like this color scheme at all. Anyway, let's move on to the memory. So I wanted to keep this, like I said, low RGB and really sort of kind of industrial looking. I don't know if industrial is the right word, but sort of just rugged. It's a workstation. I want it to look like it means business, but also kind of pissed off at the same time. Like, I want people to be intimidated when they see it. Like, should I like static discharge? Will it get mad at me if I don't? Anyway, Crucial Ballistics Elite 3600 seemed to be like a good place to start here. Again, everything's subject to change. Feel free to add your own suggestions down below as well. This is a 32 gig kit, but I'm probably gonna scale that up to 64. So I'll just probably get 2 of these kits if possible, all with the same cast latency, 16, same speed and all that. These are just really good sticks. I've used them in the past. They look really nice when they're all sort of, side by side, especially if you've got quad channel memory. It's gonna look very beastly, and the matte black finish is super high quality. It's kind of got this almost like powder coated finish on it, I think, if I remember correctly. Just really nice looking sticks all around. For our GPU, we have an Asus Strix RTX 2080 Ti. Asus, I've probably asked you for like 2 or 3 2080 Ti's in the last month or 2, and you guys have been great. Keep sending them. I know your motherboard team's on it. With that, but I understand if you don't want to send me another 2080 Ti. I haven't kept all of them. I've given away a lot of them, but this one will be for me. So if you're watching, call me. But yeah, this is a fantastic GPU with an excellent cooler, which kind of makes it a shame that we won't be using it. We'll be swapping it out for a custom water block. However, I still want this GPU because I really love what they've done to the PCB, how they've improved the power delivery. It's fully custom, and it's got tons of features on it that I could go on about, but I won't right now. Let's move on to our storage. So continuing our storage setup, apart from those 3 2TB NVMe drives, I also want some mechanical storage just for raw backup footage and stuff like that. So we've got 2. I want to put 2 6TB WD Blacks in here and RAID 1 them. So we have mirror or redundancy, which is always nice to have in a workstation PC in the event of catastrophic failure. These drives are not cheap though, so WD, let's talk. This is just me selling myself to vendors. That's what the title of this video should be. Unfortunately, they do not have a monoblock that I can find yet for the Zenith 2 Extreme. This one from EK Waterblocks is for the Zenith, just the regular Zenith Extreme on X399, but this is not, they don't have it for this one yet. It's not compatible either. Oh, I just got fingerprints on that nice mirror chrome finish on the IO cover. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. But you'll notice that the VRM on this board is way thicker. It's like way beefier, and it spans pretty much almost the entire width of the motherboard compared to the X399 Zenith that only kind of just covers roughly the area over the socket. If a monoblock for this board should come out in the next coming weeks, then I may very well consider swapping to it. But for now, I can't. There's just no option right now. So I'm probably gonna go with the EK Velocity STR4 RGB full nickel, going with that mirror chrome finish again. This does have RGB on it somewhere. I think it's got that RGB logo, but I don't see where it would emit from, and I'm probably not gonna use it anyway. Again, if I do, it's probably gonna be like some just light white lighting or something like that. But, excuse me. Now, as mentioned, this is an STR4 block. However, STR4 blocks like this one should be compatible with socket STRX or STRX40 because they're essentially the same socket. Threadripper 3 and 2, the only difference really is the pin layout. So the pin layout on these TRX40 boards is different than X399. So you wouldn't be able to backwards compatible drop in a Threadripper 3 CPU into an X399 board and vice versa. But cooler wise and water block wise, go for it. Sure. Yeah. Who pooped in my Wheaties this morning? Oh my God. But yeah, this is a beautiful water block. I've never used this one before, but it just looks so good. And I mean, how is that not gonna match? How is that not gonna match perfectly with this board? Just look at, let me just shine the light, reflect. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. It's so heavy, oh my God, it's scary. It's so heavy, you know. All right, moving on. So we're in like custom water-cooled territory now. We've already gone over all the core specs of the system. This is all, I think moving forward is pretty much, except for maybe one part, is all custom water cooling hardware. And again, subject to change if you guys have any ideas, suggestions, down below. EK Quantum Vector Strix RTX 2080 Ti water block. Now, I really like this because it has that nickel-plated section right here that again is going to match with now the water block, the CPU block, words, and the motherboard as well. I don't like this part. This part is on Hotline 2. Hotline 2 has the same blocks. And while it works for Hotline 2, I don't think it's gonna work very well for this one, the sort of like translucent, semi-opaque plastic covering. So I just found out today that EK sells these upgrade kits, these blacked out upgrade kits that replaces that little clear plastic piece and just makes them look so much better, I think, for most scenarios anyway. I should also mention, in case it wasn't obvious, one GPU in this build. I don't need two 2080 Ti's because I already have that in Hotline 2 with a 9900K. That's my gaming PC. This is just strictly for work. So for this build, I'm gonna keep it light and just do a single 2080 Ti. Wow, that was the most privileged thing I've ever said. I am sorry. Now, I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna mount the GPU vertically or horizontally. I don't know. I feel like either option could work. I just have to sort of play around with it when I have all the parts and see what works best. But if I do it horizontally, where you'll actually see a decent chunk of the backplate, pretty much all of it, then I'm gonna go with something like this. This is a full nickel backplate. It's completely mirrored finish, and it looks really nice. I know it says for the Win 3, this is for an EVGA card, but I'm sure they have one for the Strix as well. That would be pretty sweet. If it's gonna be vertically mounted, then this doesn't really matter because you'll literally never see it. Just FYI there. And then tubing. So I think this is my plan for tubing. I really wanted to do sort of like, I know this sounds like I'm copying Jay even more, but sort of like a metallic finish for the tubing. And then I like saw all the work that goes into doing like brass or copper tubing and how it's like you have to buy it pre-bent. And I'm like, that's not fun. I mean, I'm sure at some point I'll do a build like that, but I kind of want to like builds, like I want to bend stuff, you know? I enjoy the bending process. I'm very bendy, I'm like Gumby. All right, so I'm gonna go with PETG, which doesn't look metallic at all because it's not, but I had the idea to paint the tubes with a matte black finish, so they would at least look a whole lot less plasticky. And I think that would sort of tie into the whole, I don't know, sort of rugged and dark, stealthy, and industrial theme that we have going on here. So I don't know, if you guys have any experience with painting tubes, let me know because I've never done that before. I have painted my own cable sleeving and I felt like if that was possible, this should be a walk in the park. I feel like this would be a bit easier. So, but again, let me know what you think. 16mm tubes, so we're going slightly thicker here. because girth and stuff. And then we also have radiators, going with EK's Coolstream XE360. This is a 60mm thick radiator that will be going at the top of the case. The one other radiator in the system will be the Coolstream SE360. This is the 28mm thick version, the slim rad variant of the one before it. And this is where things get tricky, guys, and maybe you guys can help me out. Actually, please do, if you have any suggestions. Do I mount this on the side of the motherboard, like on the side of the case to the right of the board, or do I mount it to the bottom of the case? Because PCO11 Dynamic, it can receive a lot of intake from the bottom as well. So I've got those two options. I feel like either could work. Throwing you a curveball right here, though. Distro plate. But the distro plate can go either at the front of the case or on the side to the right of the motherboard. So obviously if I have the distro plate, so there's two variants here. This is the one at the front. This is a lousy picture because you can't really see the rest of the build, but this is sort of EK's version of the front distro, and this is the side distro. So you can see it's right here on the side. Totally two very different looks, but obviously if I went with this plate, I couldn't put the radiator there. I'd have to put that slim radiator at the bottom of the chassis, which would be fine. Obviously, there's different challenges with either configuration that I'll just have to work through once I face them, but I think the biggest thing here is the way it looks, right? The end result is really what matters. So do I like this look where the tubes are just going out from the board and straight to the front of the case, or do I kind of like them going up, over, and back down and around? Because I feel like this would actually be a little trickier since you have to do a double 90 bend, one coming from the board and then going to the distro. That would be a little trickier than this. This is just like a single, most of the time it's just gonna be a single right angle bend. So it might look a little cleaner in the end, but I don't know. I feel like I'm leaning towards a front distro plate, but you guys let me know. This will be the first build that I ever use a distro plate with, so I'm kind of excited about that. I like to include or add in a first for any new custom water-cooled build that I do, because I don't do them very often, so I use them as opportunities to learn something new or try something new that broadens my scope of experience with this sort of thing. And then finally, fans. This is the other thing that you guys can help me on. Right now I have the Noctua NF F12s picked out because why wouldn't you? They're fantastic fans, quiet, cool. They're black, they're matte, they look nice, but they're also kind of boring. They sort of just blend in with everything. Whereas I was kind of thinking that it'd be cool to have a fan with some chrome finish on it. Not like a fully chromed out fan where it's like chrome from top to bottom, because I think that would look that would be a little too much. But if you guys know any fan models or anything, or you can find a fan that has some tasteful chrome accents on it, please link me down below, or just share with me the model name, because I haven't really been able to find any good ones, and I think that could really take the build to another level, because there's going to be so many fans in this system. It would be sort of a shame to not use them to our advantage to tie the theme together. And those are not all the parts, because we totally didn't go over fittings. I completely skipped over that. Stupid me. EK Torque HTC 16mm nickel fittings. Full nickel. We're just going for that chrome mirror finish again. And never used these fittings particularly, but they look really, really nice. And I think they're gonna match. And of course, I'll have to add some right angle and 45-degree angle fittings, maybe some extensions, a drain valve, and things like that. But those are all the parts for this ridiculous build. We just went over $10,000 worth of hardware in a matter of minutes, guys. This build is chalking up to be, well, nothing, because I haven't built it yet, but the parts list is looking promising. Thank you guys so much. Again, feel free to share thoughts down below. I really want this to be a conversation where we can go back and forth and discuss exactly how this system's gonna be put together. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, toss a like before you go, and get subscribed for more tech content on the way very soon. Check out bitwit.tech, our merchandise store. You will never have to roll the dice on our merchandise, because we guarantee super high quality shirts, hoodies, mugs, pint glasses, mouse pads, and so much more. Go ahead and check it out right now. I'll put a link in the description below, or you can go to bitwit.tech. As always, thanks again for watching, have a good one, and I'll see y'all in the next video.